In a stunning revelation that has left global defense analysts speechless and adversaries scrambling for answers, Israel has unveiled and reportedly deployed its secret new $500 million next-generation fighter jet, an aircraft so advanced, so lethal, and so shrouded in mystery that even its existence was previously only speculated among intelligence circles, and now it has taken the skies with a mission that stunned the world. The operation, executed with flawless precision in a high-stakes environment, showcased Israel's unmatched capability to defend its skies and strike deep into hostile territory, leveraging cutting-edge stealth, hypersonic technology, artificial intelligence, and quantum-enhanced radar systems that make this aircraft not only invisible to enemy detection, but capable of launching preemptive strikes with surgical accuracy. A leap forward in modern warfare that positions Israel as one of the world's most formidable air powers. This isn't just another jet. This is a sixth-generation ghost, a specter in the sky, rumored to be named Karen Haro or Ray of Light, a code name fitting for a machine designed not just to dominate dogfights, but to redefine the very nature of aerial combat. And sources from inside Israeli aerospace industries, II, confirmed that the jet was developed under an ultra-classified project in collaboration with elite units from Rafael Advanced Defense Systems and Elbit Systems, combining Israeli innovation with global defense expertise. Rumored to have borrowed design principles from the American NG-80 program and Britain's Tempest project, but pushing far beyond in areas of cyber warfare resilience, AI-assisted decision-making, and anti-missile laser integration, giving it not only the ability to fight, but to survive in the most contested airspaces on Earth. The first confirmed use of this $500 million warbird came during a classified mission over hostile airspace where Iranian-backed militias were planning a long-range drone and missile barrage into Israeli cities, an imminent threat neutralized not by a traditional air campaign, but by a lightning-fast surgical operation where the jet flew into enemy airspace undetected, destroyed command and control bunkers, jammed radar and communications networks, and returned without a scratch, leaving enemy generals baffled and commanders silent. For the jet's radar signature is reportedly less than that of a small bird, and its thermal trail is masked by adaptive camouflage technology, effectively making a ghost in infrared and radar spectrums, while its cockpit is operated not just by a pilot, but by a hybrid AI co-pilot, one that manages hundreds of simultaneous data points, threat assessments, and even selects target priorities faster than any human can blink, giving Israeli pilots the most comprehensive situational awareness ever seen in air combat. While exact specifications are top secret, defense analysts estimate a top speed exceeding Mach 3.5 range, over 2,000 miles without refueling, and a weapons bay capable of carrying new generation hypersonic missiles developed under Israel's Lightning Lance program, weapons that travel at over Mach 7 and can strike targets before enemy radars even detect a launch, a terrifying leap that shifts the balance of power in the Middle East and beyond. For with just a handful of these jets, Israel now has the ability to dismantle entire aerial defenses in minutes, conduct reconnaissance missions deep into enemy territory, and launch precision strikes on nuclear facilities, command posts, and mobile launchers, all without being detected or engaged. Global reactions have ranged from disbelief to sheer panic, with Iran immediately issuing a military alert, Syria scrambling outdated MiG-29s in a futile show of force, and Hezbollah going dark on encrypted comms, likely fearing what comes next, while nations like China and Russia have reportedly requested satellite imagery and signal intercepts to analyze the event, hoping to reverse engineer clues from the wreckage left behind or lack thereof, as some targets were reportedly vaporized by direct energy weapons or hypersonic impact, leaving no trace. Meanwhile, U.S. officials, while declining to officially comment, are said to have been briefed and even involved in early development phases, suggesting that this jet may be the product of a deeper strategic alliance, a glimpse into a new era of joint AI-integrated warfare between Western allies where autonomy, stealth, and first strike capability are paramount. And as images of the jet's silhouette began circulating through military forums, some leaked, others likely intentional, enthusiast and expert alike are now dissecting every frame, noting the sleek, delta-wing design, absence of vertical stabilizers, and the unusual shimmer of its heat-resistant composite skin, which may use nanotechnology to adapt in flight to changes in weather, temperature, and radar frequency. further enhancing its survivability in contested environments. But beyond the hardware, it's the philosophy behind this aircraft that represents a seismic shift. This isn't a plane built to match enemies. It's built to outthink them, outmaneuver them, and eliminate threats before a human enemy even understands what's happening. And if the reports are true, this jet is more than a platform. It's a digital warfare ecosystem, able to network with drones, satellites, tanks, and naval systems in real time, feeding and receiving mission-critical intelligence to coordinate strikes across multiple domains, meaning the moment it takes off, it becomes a command center for any operations involved in. For Israel, a nation perpetually surrounded by existential threats, this breakthrough couldn't come at a more critical time. Tensions are soaring, proxy conflicts are growing, and the threats are evolving beyond traditional warfare into cyber attacks, drone swarms, and hybrid tactics, all of which this aircraft was specifically designed to counter, giving Israeli defense forces a technological edge to not just react but deter, disrupt, and dominate before war even begins. Inside sources say the development cost, around $500 million per jet, was funded partially through black budget operations and foreign defense partnerships, with fewer than 10 operational units currently deployed, each one protected by elite security teams and housed in underground hangars with biometric access, quantum encryption, and anti-drone systems, highlighting just how valuable and vulnerable this new capability is. And while world leaders have yet to officially comment, insiders report emergency meetings across NATO, the Pentagon, and allied defense ministries, trying to assess how this changes the air power calculus across every flashpoint region from Tehran to the South China Sea. The message, however, is clear. Israel is no longer playing catch-up in next-gen warfare. It's leading the charge. And this jet, cloaked in mystery and power, is a harbinger of that reality, flying without a sound, striking without warning, and reminding the world that when it comes to defense, Israel is willing to innovate beyond limits, spend beyond imagination, and strike beyond borders if necessary to protect its people, its future, and its very survival. And as night falls over the Mediterranean and satellites pass quietly overhead, one thing is certain. The skies will never be the same again because somewhere up there, a $500 million ghost is flying, watching, waiting, and ready. But as the world stares in awe and fear at the revelation of Israel's $500 million sixth-generation fighter jet, the story doesn't end with its deployment. No, it only begins there, because what followed the initial strike was a strategic ripple effect that spread like wildfire across intelligence agencies, war rooms, and defense ministries worldwide. And within hours, reports began to surface that the jet was not just a prototype or a single-use test asset, but the spearhead of a classified fleet operation known internally as Operation Iron Horizon, a multi-phase initiative intended to test, train, and operationalize these next-generation fighters in real-world environments. And sources embedded deep within the Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, confirmed that elite pilots from the 140 Squadron, Israel's most decorated aerial unit, were pulled into closed-door simulations for months prior, training under AI wargame scenarios that pitted them against hypothetical enemies modeled after Iranian, Syrian, and Russian defense grids, scenarios that included multi-layered missile defenses, drone swarms, cyber interference, and even weather manipulation. And every time, the jet emerged victorious, with a kill ratio reportedly above 95%, a level of dominance unheard of in any known combat aircraft to date. More than just raw firepower. The jet's command interface is said to be decades ahead of current Western aircraft, replacing traditional gauges and heads-up displays with a neural link system that responds to pilot intention and biological feedback, translating thoughts into maneuvers and strategies in milliseconds, fusing man and machine in a combat symbiosis that effectively turns the pilot into a weaponized extension of the aircraft itself. And it's no surprise that only the best of the best are allowed to even step into the cockpit, with psychological evaluations, combat experience, and reaction time metrics that surpass even those required by U.S. Navy SEALs or Air Force Top Gun graduates. But it's what the jet can do once airborne that is truly terrifying. According to intercepted transmissions, one aircraft coordinated with satellite and drone swarm to digitally blind a series of radar systems in Lebanon, allow it to enter Beirut airspace undetected, conduct a scan of Hezbollah weapons caches, and destroy high-value targets using micro-missiles with kinetic strike capabilities, then vanish into cloud cover before enemy ground forces even realized they had been hit. This was not an air raid, it was a ghost strike, an apparition of modern warfare executed by what military analysts are now calling the most advanced standalone strike platform on Earth, surpassing even the F-22 and F-35 in agility, stealth, autonomy, and electronic warfare, and the implications of this are immense. With this kind of platform in play, traditional missile defense systems like Russia's S-400 or Iran's Bavar 373 are now rendered obsolete, as their radar scopes are effectively blind to the low signature heat, sound, and radar bounce of this machine, and as one unnamed Mossad official allegedly said, by the time they hear us, they're already gone, a chilling statement that has sent tremors through enemy states who rely on layered air defense to maintain strategic deterrence. But that deterrence is crumbling, because when you're dealing with a fighter jet that can think, decide, and strike autonomously, capable of processing threats faster than any human, and deploy countermeasures before a missile even locks on, you are dealing with a new paradigm of warfare, one in which human reaction time is simply too slow to survive, and that is precisely what Israeli military planners envisioned when they greenlit this platform. A future-proof aircraft designed not just to survive the battles of tomorrow, but to own them. It's also rumored that the fighter jet is capable of swarm integration, meaning it can serve as a command node for dozens of autonomous drones, each with their own mission parameters. Some for reconnaissance, others for electronic jamming, others for decoy deception. And these drones, powered by Israel's latest generation of quiet electric propulsion and machine learning guidance, can create an artificial battlefront, overwhelming enemy decision-makers with false signals, phantom radar echoes, and invisible threats, all while the real jet circles silently above, choosing its targets with machine-like precision and human-level intent. And what makes this even more stunning is the speculation that these fighters have already been forward deployed to covert air bases in the Negev Desert, Cyprus, and even one disguised facility in northern Africa, allowing Israel to project air dominance deep into Asia, Africa, and potentially Europe without detection. And the geopolitical ramifications are nothing short of explosive. Regional adversaries are in full-blown panic mode, not just because of what this means militarily, but because of what it means politically. This fighter jet is not only a tool of defense, it is a message, a declaration that Israel will not be boxed in, not be intimidated, not be outgunned, and certainly not be surprised. And nations like Iran now understand that their underground nuclear facilities are no longer safe, because this jet can fly in, strike, and leave before their radar crews can even boot up a response. And worse, it can do so repeatedly undetected and from multiple directions as part of strategic ghost saturation, tactic designed to overwhelm and exhaust enemy radar and defense units until total collapse. And while some might call this escalation, Israel calls it survival. And for a country surrounded by hostile proxies, terror networks, and rogue nations, the need for this kind of overwhelming technological edge is not an option. It's an imperative, a matter of national existence. And the $500 million price tag is a small cost compared to the price of another full-scale war. And now that this platform has been revealed, the psychological edge it brings is just as devastating as the weapons it carries. Because now, enemy leaders lie awake wondering where the next strike will come from, how many of these aircraft exist, and whether the most critical infrastructure is already marked for destruction. And that fear is power, strategic power, and it buys Israel something priceless: time, space, and deterrence. Meanwhile, allies of Israel are quietly thrilled as defense officials in Washington, London, and Canberra are reportedly in talks to observe the jet up close, possibly as part of a limited technology sharing agreement that may lead to future joint production. And while most of the aircraft systems remain top secret, what is known as already redefining military textbooks around the world. And Israeli military schools are rewriting pilot doctrine to incorporate AI coordination, decentralized drone combat, and real-time battlefield command delegation from the cockpit, all while building the infrastructure to support full-scale production of what may become the backbone of Israel's air power by the end of the decade. And if there was any doubt about the future of aerial warfare, that doubt has been erased. Because the ghost is real, the skies are no longer neutral, and the battlefield of tomorrow belongs to those who can disappear, strike, and control the invisible front lines of cyber, AI, and electronic warfare. Lines that this fighter jet doesn't just fly through, but owns. And as more nations scramble to respond, to catch up, and now, as the global defense community reels on the tactical and psychological shockwaves of Israel's secret $500 million next-generation fighter jet, the world enters a phase of uncertainty where silence in the sky speaks louder than sonic booms, and invisibility is the loudest signal of dominance. Because what began as whispers among military insiders has exploded into an international frenzy, with satellite imagery analysts, cybersecurity experts, and aviation specialists racing to decipher every clue, every radar anomaly, every unexplained blackout over hostile airspace, looking for signs of this technological ghost. But what they don't realize is that the jet's very existence was designed to confound this exact kind of scrutiny. Its AI core, known by insiders as the Seraphim Protocol, is built on deep learning neural networks trained not just for flight and targeting, but for information warfare, digital camouflage, and electronic misdirection, meaning it doesn't just evade radar. It feeds enemy sensors false data, mimics commercial aircraft signatures, erases its digital footprint in real time, and can even simulate squadron movements it never made, all to keep its adversaries chasing phantoms while it carries out precision missions in hostile territory, and that alone makes a strategic weapon unlike anything ever fielded before. But what truly elevates this machine beyond conventional warfare is its integration with Israel's multi-domain battle doctrine, a combat philosophy that fuses space-based intelligence, land-based AI command centers, naval platforms, and airborne strike units into a seamless network of synchronized destruction. And at the center of it all is this aircraft, the invisible sword, the angel of precision, the silent reaper capable of executing surgical strikes without ever breaking the sound barrier or triggering a single missile lock warning. And as the IDF continues to roll out ghost wing formations, rotating deployments of these jets across undisclosed locations, analysts now believe Israel has operationalized at least a dozen of these stealth titans, with more in various stages of production and testing, many powered by compact directed energy subsystems and equipped with adaptive skin technology that changes its visual and radar appearance based on altitude, lighting, and terrain, making it not just a stealth aircraft, but a shape-shifting chameleon of the skies. And the psychological warfare this enables cannot be overstated, because now every radar ping in Iran, Syria, and beyond becomes a question mark. Every drone blip on an air traffic control screen a potential death sentence. Every comm blackout a possible precursor to a surgical ghost strike. And this constant state of high alert is not only draining enemy resources, it's sowing fear, paranoia, and internal discord, a tactic as old as warfare itself, now reborn in the age of autonomous flight and algorithmic warfare, and just as powerful as the missiles it carries or the decisions it forces. How you defend against what you can't see, can't track, can't jam, and can't outmaneuver. And even if you could, by the time you detect it, it's already behind you, painting your radar dome with a lock that gives you no time to react and no hope of escape. And this crushing inevitability is by design, because the aircraft was never meant to engage in dogfights. It was meant to eliminate the need for them entirely, to end threats before they become battles, to erase enemy command structures before orders are given, and to do it so quietly, so cleanly, that entire governments wake up with a piece of their military infrastructure gone, and no idea who or what did it, only rumors, digital ghosts, and maybe, if they're lucky, a single silent contrail high above that fades before the eye can follow. And behind the scenes, the engineers who built this weapon are already working on the next phase, integrating quantum radar absorption fields, anti-satellite strike capabilities, and swarm-controlling AI that allows the aircraft to serve as a high-altitude shepherd for entire fleets of smart drones, turning it into not just a fighter jet, but a mobile command platform capable of directing full-spectrum warfare from 60,000 feet. And the fact that this level of innovation is coming from a nation the size of New Jersey is not just remarkable, it's revolutionary, and it's forcing NATO, the U.S., and every other military superpower to evaluate what they thought was possible. Because while most countries are still struggling to transition from fourth to fifth generation aircraft, Israel has leapfrogged into a future that blends human instinct with artificial precision, national defense with algorithmic foresight, and hardware with neural intention. And now the stakes are higher than ever, because with each successful mission, each flawless strike, each enemy radar system that fails to react, the mythos of this fighter jet grows, becoming more than a machine. It becomes a symbol, a psychological weapon of mass disruption that forces enemies to question every assumption, every defense protocol, every airspace command, and every moment of peace as potentially the calm before another unseen storm. And as neighboring regimes scramble to harden their bunkers, recode their radar, and dig their silos deeper into the earth, what they fail to realize is that no amount of concrete encryption or outdated doctrine can stop a machine that thinks faster than their entire defense apparatus, one that doesn't just follow orders, but predicts and evolves in real time, learning from every sortie, every pixel of infrared feedback, every radio transmission intercepted mid-flight. And so while the world debates the ethics of autonomous warfare, while diplomats exchange nervous smiles over coffee and defense contractors whisper in boardrooms about next-gen contracts, the jet is already out there, circling silently, a guardian angel or a harbinger of wrath depending on your alignment with Israel's national interests. And perhaps the greatest irony of all is that this aircraft, born out of centuries of existential threat, is not just a tool of war. It is a machine built for survival, for deterrence, for the kind of peace that only comes when your enemies know you can reach out and silence them before they can even scream. And in that chilling capability lies a strange kind of calm, a balance of power forged, not through treaties or negotiations, but through sheer technological supremacy. And as we look to the future, to the wars not yet fought, to the crises not yet sparked, we must ask, what happens when a ghost no longer needs a pilot at all? When AI becomes not just a co-pilot, but a commander? When machines that think faster than us make life and death decisions in microseconds? Will this bring more security, or usher in an era of warfare so fast, so precise, so invisible, that humanity becomes just another variable in a combat algorithm? That question remains unanswered. But one thing is clear. Israel's $500 million next-gen fighter jet is not science fiction. It's not theory, and it's no longer a secret. It's airborne, operational, and redefining everything we thought we knew about modern warfare. And whether the world is ready or not, the age of the ghost has arrived.